Dang.
Was that so in sync, or did Jason not clap?
We didn't hear Jason's clap.
I
Which
clapped.
doesn't mean it didn't happen.
It happened. I think we're just in mind meld.
Do it one more time.
No. I think it's fine because
Trust the
Yanko,
system.
The one thing right now is that we have the internet working against us. We have a extremely unique setup that is being undertaken here this evening, which I do believe is the 17th. No, wait, it's the 16th. It's the 17th tomorrow because the tournament starts tomorrow on the 17th.
Yeah, it's still the 16th.
But right now on the 16th, we have undertaken a journey as 3. However, we're segregated in a group of 2, being Yanko and myself in my hotel room, and a group of 1, being Jason Moses O'Toole.
Always the underdog.
In his home.
Always. These are it's once again it's the hard life of someone in NA. You know.
Yeah, because life is so easy for Chad, who comes from Australia.
Chad hasn't counted.
just-
Chad hasn't
I like how-
counted as Australian in like 7 years. Let's chill the fuck out for a second.
Yeah, but that's not because
Why am I
that's
being
not because
attacked?
it's not like he would. It's not like he just got used to living in Europe because it made the most sense for him business wise. But you don't think Chad would love to be able to chill in Perth and just fly out to events all the time? Tell him,
No,
Chad.
I think Chad would go fucking crazy without Counter-Strike to obsess over.
That's the problem. We need Counter-Strike
That
in
is
Australia.
true.
If we can bring Counter-Strike to Australia, then being in Australia would actually be okay. But I just want to say I don't want to be in anyone's crosshairs here earlier, right, guys? I'm still recovering. I wasn't feeling too well. I had a very bad stomach bug that I thought like I was going to be fucked. I thought my bowels were going to stop working at one point. Like I was shitting so much. And it was just water. And every time I would put anything into my body, I'd have to shit again. And then at some point, it's turned green. Like Yanko, you see the chewy gum bottle over there, the green one.
Yeah, the Orbit.
So mix a little bit of like the creamy color, which is the bedhead, into that, and that's the color of what was coming out of my fucking body, bro.
Fucking hell, you should have seen a doctor, Chad.
I called I called the doctor.
Oh yeah, you okay then. Yeah, you had a call or even a video call. Did you like point the phone at the fucking shit?
No, I just explained my symptoms.
if that guy would have seen the caller, and if that was the caller, he would have said, "Son, call 911." Go to a hospital immediately because something's terribly wrong.
That's a good point.
Dehydrated.
You should have brought the webcam into the bathroom with you and just been like, "Look, I didn't flush last time. This is what I'm working with."
I didn't want to
And
do
also,
that
while
to the
we're
guy.
here, I have this thing on my balls. It's normal.
But it was like I've had stomach bugs before, right? And they last like food poisoning, or you're feeling under the weather, and everything's coming out of every end, and you're bad for maybe 1 to 3 days, right? Like you usually 1 to 2 would be my max. This time I was out for over a week. I didn't know if I was gonna make it to fucking Rio or not. I was like still touch and go mega sick up until Wednesday. That's why I missed. You guys did a potty without me. I missed a HLTV confirmed, and then I was just like, then my whole body was just locked up with tension. I have this back massager. Do you guys own any massage paraphernalia?
Yeah, I have one of those massage guns. I forget which brand it is, but yeah, I have one of those.
Like
and
a
then
Theragun.
yeah, I think
People
that's
say
actually
those
their
are
exact
pretty good.
brand. Yeah, it's nice. They're just loud, but I mean they do the job. And then we have those. Jane with yoga has all those she has those stretching blocks and then the wheels to roll out your spine and your shoulders and shit. She has 4 different size wheels that you can get on. So we got some apparatus, some massage apparatus.
Jason's got some paraphernalia.
And the handcuffs and the whips.
Yeah, the swing.
Well, whatever. Fucking hell. That's in a different room. That's what he's been renovating these last.
That's in the
days.
basement.
That's in
for
the
sure.
basement, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any? We started with hentai 1 week, and then just started with fucking.
No,
sex
it's
with-
diarrhea and
yes,
sex
and
dungeons. It's perfect.
Oh man. Do you have any massage paraphernalia, Yanko?
No, absolutely not. And I'm
Absolutely not,
no,
Jason. You hear that?
No, I'm saying
I
this
thought,
because
like, a
I'm not
cultural
really a
thing.
believer in massages.
Wait,
you
you don't
know-
believe in massage?
Well,
Exactly.
because every time I've had a massage, I've felt the same after it.
What?
Yeah, man, and I've been to some pricey ones at the good places or the good hotels, and I don't know, I don't really enjoy it while it's happening. But that's because I'm thinking okay, it's supposed to be uncomfortable.
Are your
because
muscles sore?
You'll feel so much better after. From the massage or
No, before. Like, I'm genuinely, this is because this is the end. We're going to get to the end of the story.
no,
right
they're not.
now.
I'm just thinking that it's like, I sit a lot. I'm thinking there's something.
Yeah, they're tense.
There's shit that's wrong with my back.
Yeah.
Where massage is that how you say it, or massage?
Massage.
yeah, I would say
Massage.
massage.
Massage
well.
is British. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Massage feels weird. Massage. I feel like it should help with it. I should feel like better. I don't expect to feel like a brand new man.
But
I
you
just,
don't feel better.
No, I don't. I feel worse.
Really?
Actually, because I feel like I was a little bit tortured by it, and then I don't get any benefits
So
from
maybe
it.
your pain is like more structural with your bones than it is with your like muscles.
I feel like
'Cause I
it's
get like a lot of tension in shoulder blades.
yeah, I do too. And it's a lot of it is
Yeah.
like being hunched over the phone and hunched over
Yeah,
monitors,
I'm
and
a fucking
obviously
caveman.
the travel, the airplanes. I think it's I understand what he's saying, because I think it's like one massage for me like does nothing. Like if I go to
Oh,
like
you
a
need-
hotel over the course
okay.
of like a weekend event that has like a spa, I'll get like 2 massages, and it's only until like after the second one that I really do anything. But also, I go in and I'm like the crazy person who's just like, give me like the burliest fucking person you have
Yeah,
in the spa.
with the strong hands.
And they're like, do you like it strong or do you like it soft? Do you like it? I'm just like, try and break me. Like, try to
Break
fucking destroy me. I ask for it.
I need that as well, Yanko. So there's this bloke, right? In Malta, there's a bloke. His name's Peter. He's from
His
Poland.
name is Samson.
No, his name's Peter, and he's from Poland. And he runs a massage service, right? And he'll fucking come around your house, $50 an hour, and he'll give you a proper. He'll fuck your shit up. He will destroy your back, mate.
Yeah.
It's what you need
Cool.
because I need the muscles. So I do have massage paraphernalia, right? And one of the pieces of massage paraphernalia that I do own, people might have seen this on the interwebs before. It's like this. It's probably about like this big. Jason, you can't see. Imagine
No.
it's the size of a football.
Okay.
Imagine it's like a hunter size.
Yeah. Okay. But it basically has these like knobs on it that are motorized. You
Not
plug the
bad.
power and they move, they spin, right? And then they'll spin in the other direction after a certain period of time. So what I would do is I'd put it between my back and the back of the couch rest, and I would just sit there and let this thing just fucking chew up my shoulder blade muscles because they were
Alright.
so tense that what was happening was I froze up, Yanko, that my neck was stiff. It would put it like tension up into a fucking headache. The shoulders were stiff. Mate, I thought I was obviously dehydrated as well, but I thought it was all over.
I'm
It
sure
was
if
GG.
I find like the proper thing, I would feel. You know what they do realize I enjoy more than just a massage?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a head massage.
Okay.
I feel like that really does the trick for me, because one time my barber, he was like on vacation or whatever, I needed a haircut, and he recommended his colleague, it's a woman, right? And she's pretty good, I knew about it, but she does this thing when she washes your hair, and in the end, after, when after your hair is washed, when she puts like the balsam for where you were shaved,
Sure, yeah,
she
yeah,
gives you a
yeah.
little bit of that massage, like the neck and just like the stuff, and that felt like amazing. So I feel like that's probably what I should go for. That's probably where I have the most tension, is like my neck.
Sure.
And maybe I'm sure I have like I know I have problems with I think I have like the, how do you call it, discus
Sure.
hernia, like herniated disc, maybe like in my lower
Your
back
back's
or
that
something.
fucked. That's really fucked.
Something a little bit of that, but that's a whole different sort of a issue, right? So, yeah, I don't know.
Have you done-
It's just not my cup of tea.
Have you done a chiropractor, Chad? Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I have. The thing
Jane's
with the chiro
been
is
trying to
I
get me
think-
into the chiropractor. They
I think it's short-term relief.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna get addicted to something that doesn't. I think they creep me out for some reason. I don't know why.
Sounds
satisfying.
sounds familiar.
No, but it's satisfying. Like have you seen the videos on Instagram?
Yeah, I have the neck
popping
cracking.
sounds.
Yeah, the popping
It
sounds.
scares the shit out of me.
I don't know how much is fake and how much is real, but my dad has back problems from plumbing and stuff. He would go to a chiropractor all the time. And I would go to a chiropractor a little bit because I had back issues as well, but mine would play from being sitting down and being a
And
slob.
genetics.
Yeah, probably. But I always found it did short-term relief, whereas I think like now, if I do stuff, if I'm not stupid, right? This is the thing. This is the revelation. This is where the story was going. I'm old. I have to look after myself. I have to drink enough water. I have to fucking exercise. I have to see the sun. I have to eat like a fucking human being and not a slug.
Sure.
It's fucking over. I have to try now. It's over.
Yeah,
I have to try living.
you have to put some work in.
Well, you don't have to.
I don't feel like shit.
Well,
Yanko.
but it just depends on the quality of life
Yeah, well, like that quality was dog shit.
you want to have, Chad. That's all there is. Jason, when you have time, check your phone.
When you, oh.
But-
Jason, what's on
No,
your
I saw it.
phone?
I'm on top of it. I'm on top of the game.
All right. No, but I mean, I don't want to get too into like this. Isn't the fucking. I don't want to get too into like we're getting old and you need to have your vitamins type of shit. Well, let's talk about the
You
meat
should
and
have your
potatoes.
vitamins.
Let's talk about the fucking meat and potatoes, Chad.
You should have some
Barbecue,
meat and
you said?
potatoes too as well. Protein.
Oh shit! Yeah, that we need to discuss this, Jason. And you're gonna be really mad. You're gonna be really mad.
Okay.
But we just had the best rehearsal of our lives.
He is
Okay.
he's seething.
And-
He's seething.
Yeah, I'm
right now.
furious. I am
and
very
there's
angry.
layers to this, okay? So the layer number one, you're not gonna believe this, okay? So the initial shuttle time was 6:15 for the rehearsal, and for whatever
not for
reason,
me and Alex.
Alex and Chad had one at 5:15. I don't even know why. It doesn't matter. And then at like 4:45, our talent manager is like, "Hey guys, actually, they're ready for you if you all want to jump on the 5:15." To which we
Okay.
all, in Jubilee, were like, "Yes, we're coming." So we leave an hour early. We get there. Almost no time is wasted. People come in. We do a bit of a brief. We go. We do a quick audio check because that's the only thing we can do. Just sort of a quick, again, brief of
Sure.
what the show is going to look like. Most of the familiar stuff, we're done pretty quickly. To learn that actually right outside, like it's still like, I don't know, as you leave the arena, but still in the arena grounds, there's barbecue and beer until 9 p.m. And this was like we were out of there at like 7 p.m., 6:30 or whatever. So, and there's also music for whatever reason. Like
The
there's-
music today has been phenomenal.
it's like in
I
the
wanna
background.
add.
It's like a shout out to Tristan Sarantas in our shuttle drive to the rehearsal. He absolutely nailed it, being the DJ. So we're just finished rehearsal.
Wait. Trace wasn't DJ?
Yeah,
I thought it
you
was the
actually believed
driver.
it was the driver? No, it was Trace the whole time.
I was at the back of the bus. I thought it was the driver.
No, dude, it was Trace the whole time. I can't. You've actually bought that. Wow, Chad, you're so gullible,
I was
man.
playing into it as well. I
You're
was
so-
fucking loving
yeah,
it.
Yeah, you're so gullible. No, it was Trace the whole time. And so, yeah, we were really efficient with the rehearsal. We were actually ahead of schedule with it. And then we had like Brazilian barbecue, which, if anyone doesn't know, is pretty fucking good. Free beer, some music, just
It's
good
alright.
vibes, having a chat, and then came back.
I have the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Do you want the cherry on top here, Jason?
I do want the cherry on top. I love the
I
cherry
hope
on
you're
top.
sitting down, and I hope the people at home are sitting down for this too. Ben Audio, motherfucking
Oh, yeah.
Jesus is here.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's absolutely
believe it.
magnificent.
Yeah.
That's
He
actually
can't believe it.
He's
he might
the one
low-key-
responsible for the levels.
might be the most important person to a broadcast that we've ever encountered in all of our years of broadcast work.
Fucking Ben.
Bro, I shit you not. He's talking to us as we're trying to set the levels, and he's like, I'm gonna play some music for you guys now just to check the levels. It's like, play a song, and we were like, hey, can you play this? He's like, 1 second, and then he said, actually, I can play whatever I want into the program feed now, just not to you guys, but I'll fix that for tomorrow. So before we're live, he can actually play like a song.
Do you have a request?
Yeah,
Okay.
so he can like, that's like your walkout song if you're a fighter, right? Like, so you can get something to get hyped up before you go live,
Yeah.
get the energy up, get the juices flowing, get the blood flowing. So you come in and Trace is in. Welcome to IEM Rio 2023. We're back in Brazil.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Right?
I like
yeah.
that. That'll be
He's
fun.
gonna do something like that.
Dude, we have a third mic at the caster desk again.
You do?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm coming on with Harry and Hugh.
It's
for sure.
interesting. It's interesting
I'm
that they have
coming.
a third mic.
I'll come do it.
Yako's addicted to
I-
casting now.
I don't think we're
No,
gonna
I
get
like-
any players.
I like doing it with those two because I have space to do my thing and I can only do my thing. I don't have to be responsible for anything else. And I feel like that's something that they're missing a little bit as a duo in a
A
good
little
way.
bit of the hardcore analysis.
Yeah, man. And like I get along with those two fuckers. So,
Yeah,
we
they're
can
good
have
people.
some good banter along the way too. Yeah. Harry and Hugh are great.
yeah. No, they're not here yet though. because they were these.
I
these
think they're
kids.
flying over or
Yeah,
something like that.
we've keep messaging like Harry and Hugo, are you here? Because everyone's been like we've kind of this media day we had today, Jason. It was we started at 9 a.m. Well, at least I started at 9 a.m.
I didn't. I landed at 6 a.m.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving
Goddamn.
parts lately. People are still rolling in, and this is because we obviously had the crossover with the RMRs and this last chance qualifier scenario, which has just unfolded, where still 4 teams are probably in the air with Harry and Hugo right now. Right, we've got Vitality, Big, Cloud9. Man, just makes me sad to say their name. And FaZe. So they'll all be here either now or shortly.
Imagine being Cloud9 on that airplane right now. Ugh.
Bro, we had during media this like 1xBet thing. Do you know the tier list?
Yeah.
And we had all the tiers. We were like doing acronyms, and the bottom one was DOA, right? Dead on arrival, because we were talking about teams Cloud9, Big, right? Super disappointed, but we ended up only Cloud9 was in that category, because for sure the last thing they want is to fly intercontinental
And play a
long
tournament.
haul straight from that loss to FaZe and come and play in whatever tournament it is.
Do you think it might be? I know this. I don't know where I'm
But
coming
wait.
from this.
The meat and potatoes.
All right,
Jack.
all right.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
All right.
So, last episode,
Fluxo made the major. I know.
no, you were indisposed. Me and Jason were on it. We did, the RMRB preview, and now the RMRB is over. So we need to give our impressions
Okay.
and all of that stuff. And in light of what we talked about in the last episode, I need to reiterate that on an even higher scale, in a sense of it's fucking
Is this the classic esports double
it's
down?
fucking shameful that we didn't have proper storytelling for this RMR,
Oh.
because there was so many different stories to talk about. There were so many things that were going on, and we didn't do justice by the teams and the players, and it's not like we didn't do a good job. We didn't do anything to honor them. And this has nothing to do with the talent who was working the event, because you can't during a game do storytelling.
Well, definitely
during
not the,
the
whole
game,
time. Yeah, you
you're
have to
talking
focus on
about the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So that's like, and in the time that they had in between, that again, you don't have the tools, you don't have anything to really kind of shape up the event and present it to people to know what to expect. So just a couple of potential stories that you may or may not want to talk about that weren't really captured at all. You have Device coming back
Deva.
for the first time, right? To try and qualify for a major, failing to do so. You have the core of the Astralis team that won 4 majors, the most successful team when it comes to playing at majors, not even managing to qualify, going out in like the 1-3 sort of bracket. Not really talked about. And you saw the pictures, you saw the shots. Like, you can see it's devastating. You don't get anything out of it. You have Team Spirit, who was top 4 in Antwerp, who was in the playoffs of Rio, going out in last place, 0-3 next to iNation. Right.
Yeah, we needed some
Rip.
storytelling for that
Right?
one.
So you had all of that stuff, obviously those are the big ones, but then you have someone like 9, Poland, full Polish squad back on the map, 3-0, up in the legend stage, beating G2, Vitality in a best of 3, Big in another best of 1 as well, Monty too, who made it through to the major very quickly. You talked today in the media day about Boros and his story, right? Like, you had so many things going on, Ants managing to battle through from 0-2 down to make it all the way, beating Cloud9 in the process, who they lost to in the semifinals of Pro League. And then, okay, Big is also a story there. They always manage to make the majors. Now, again, it's a bit of a tough draw for them. They don't make it so. Vitality, obviously, with everything on the line for them, a French org, Zywo and Apex, French players, Paris Major, right? They managed to book themselves a legend spot. Forza is there. I know people will say after Pro League, well, that's not a big of surprise. I still think that's an achievement for them. And then, of course, in the end, it goes without saying, Cloud9, right? And FaZe in the last chance qualifier. I mean, that in itself is like, you could make a Netflix miniseries, about that one particular matchup. And then you see in the last chance qualifier, right? Like Bait was 2-0 and they failed to qualify.
Yeah.
Falcons with Kenny S and MBK, they got into CSGO together, right? They're riding it out at the end together. Like, there's so many cool storylines that you can fill out. And then on top of it all, the last fucking game of this RMR, FaZe versus Cloud9, how does it go? Cloud9, for the first time maybe in this RMR, they win both pistols, they win an eco round, like they have some clutches going their way, like suddenly everything's going their way. They're 14-8 up,
I think 6, wasn't
or
it?
more than that,
I think
or
it's
5.
The collapse,
Right? And then it's the collapse.
Yeah.
It's like Exile, nowhere to be seen. Shiro missing some shots. It's not like easy shots, but it's shots you would like. You see him get those. You see him hit those, and it goes into OT, and then just FaZe sweeps them in OT. It's like 4-0 in OT. And of course they win the second map on Inferno pretty handily, right? Like, there's so many things that have been going on that is just like, we just breeze through the games,
Yeah, I think the key with all of this, right? Because we could dive into each and every one of those storylines and talk about all the different bits and bobs of all of them. Sure.
Now, wait, I just need to say one more thing. Sorry,
No.
Chad. I hate interrupting people, and I know I do it too much. But it's also unfair to the talents that's there because you're making people do multiple things,
The
and you're making
interviews hurt
people,
me
and you're
a
making
bit.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with this. Like, you're making people who that's not their role. Their role is something else. You're making those people do the interviews. Like, you want to get an exit interview, of course, from Cloud9 or Astralis or this or that, but you're putting people in spots where they don't have experience. They're that's not their that's not their fucking job at the end of the day, right? And then it comes out as something mission mash, and then it's that talent that gets the ton of hate through no fault of
Yeah,
their
they
own. They're
kinda
just
got
trying to
thrown
do
under
the
the
best.
bus a bit.
Exactly, they
Yeah.
get thrown under the bus. Fuck that.
Yeah, I think the interviews is probably where it stood out the most, and that it's not an easy thing to do an exit interview. I don't think anybody, but that's the entire point. Is it's not easy to do an exit interview. That's literally the point that's being made here. I also think that having people be more diverse in their roles is fine for something that doesn't have the same gravitas of an RMR, which
Yes.
in my opinion is like the second most emotional and important event of the year other than the major.
In some ways, it might even be more emotional than the major, especially this one.
Yeah,
where
and
you had
maybe
so
more
many-
important.
Yeah.
Because of the broader impact it has on 24 teams, whereas just one team wins the major, but 24 teams go to the major and get sticker money and life-changing, exposure from all of that and jazz. So yeah, it's one of these things that the story used to be with the minors or the RMRs was that we were unable to like monetize it and make money from it. It's just not interesting, and it's like, well, that's bullshit. This is actually like mega interesting. It just hasn't been framed and sold from the right perspective. Or maybe now, maybe this is a bit more of an optimistic view on why it's taken us a while to get here, but the level of competition has grown a bit more, right? And it means that we do have more exciting games and matches, whereas maybe in the past the void between the tier 1 and the tier 2 was a lot more vast. Or maybe now there's just more exciting names in more places, more players are stars. Like Kenny on a team like Falcons, well, years ago he was on G2, and years before that he was one of the best AWPers in the world. So I guess there's a lot of factors that pile into all of this here. But yeah, I can see some of those issues that you have with it all there, Yanko, and that's kind of the broader point I was getting to is it needs to be given this higher level of importance, it needs to be treated with not, when I say more respect, I don't mean by the people like watching or with the commentators or anything. I just mean it needs to be framed and given more love. Like it needs to be treated like it is a big event, because it is a big event.
We need to have more days to it to spread out the game so that you can actually have time to build the stories and do the segments properly. And I mean, we know at this point, like even these are the events where there's like always like a cost cutting measure so you can have more resources for the major itself. Which is where it also gets a little bit weird from a TO perspective.
But there wasn't any like content. There wasn't any content around anything there.
For sure, no. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean,
like on the
all
broadcast, it's hard.
But even I'm saying even this, like, don't, I'm not saying you need to bring, I'm not saying I need to be there and do this thing. It's like, but you need to have a desk. And when I say desk, I don't even mean a physical desk. Like, you need to have
a panel
host.
Of people.
Exactly, a panel of people. You need to have a host and like some analysts who are going to give you the general, like the macro of it, right? The storylines, and kind of tell you, because not everyone is, you guys that are listening to this podcast, most of you are like hardcore fans. You've been around for longer, and you know all these stories that we're telling you, and you're familiar with most of the names. There's a lot of people who are tuning in for their, maybe not the first time, but third, fourth time, fifth time. Maybe they tuned in to Katowice and the last major and maybe World Finals, and now they're, for the first time, they're seeing names like Nine and Monty and BNE and Into the Breach. It's like a name that most people have never heard about. Like, so it's up to the panel to explain to you how did they get there, who are the players on this team, and then when they're making ups and when results are happening, why is it happening, and what does it mean in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah.
Because that's what makes it fun to fucking watch, and that's what makes you hooked to the thing. It's not as much as the game in itself, it's the stories about the people playing it.
Yeah, and I just want to cut in here because I think what you're saying is why what we do here can exist, because when we do a podcast like this is where we actually go like probably deeper or more hardcore, or we talk about things for longer and in more depth and a broader conversation, as opposed to when we're on a show, right, where we're delivering the information that you need to be invested, right? Whereas when we're doing this stuff, sometimes you and me and Jason, we get into the X and the O's, right? Like really deep. And we're like talking about like a fake on this map. And it's like, well, maybe not everybody enjoys listening to that, right? Like that might not be the level.
And we don't care.
Oh yeah, but here we just talk about whatever we want to talk about, which is no. But that's the fun thing. Like, nobody owns what we do. We like doing this. And we just say whatever the fuck we want. Exactly, and that's why we talk about shitting bile. But like when we want to like talk like deep about like one of those topics, Cloud9's a great one, and that whole point about them choking. Well, okay, they're a team that if you look at it on paper and where they've been going in their trajectory, they're meant to be primed to then be the next best fucking thing since sliced bread, right? But there's clearly an experience issue and a choking issue here, and that can come from a lot of different factors. Like, or it could be bad leadership as well.
Also, one emotional issue in a sense. We were talking about this even at the last major. We all loved the next step that you could obviously see that Shiro took within that team and the extra initiative. But bro, I didn't even realize that. And I was watching that game and I can't remember which game it was. Probably the 2-2 game. I don't know who they played in the 2-2 game, and I can't remember off the top of my head.
Wasn't that the Ents game?
Yeah, that was the Ents game.
Yeah.
And the Vertigo was the third map, I think. And it was on Reddit later on front page that he's actually, he's crying.
Yeah.
During the fucking game.
In agony.
It's like, hey, listen, man, I love that, your heart is in this.
Yeah, but
that's too much.
Fucking stop.
You can't.
What are you doing?
Yes, you can't. You can't have that happening. Like, you can't be so emotionally invested that you're crying during. Not in a sense, and I don't mean this like as crying is a weakness and you're being weak. No, I don't mean this. I mean just any emotion that's so.
It's overwhelming.
It's too overwhelming. Like, how can you possibly?
It's hard to keep the focus.
Be focused when your emotion is like taking over by so much. So, and listen, Shiro is a young guy and he's great. And I saw his series of tweets and I replied to him in one of them because I wanted to. I mean that, he was saying, I was saying, hey, the road is long in this game and you're at the beginning of it. Just don't keep your resolve and, you'll come out stronger from all of this.
Yep.
And I really believe that. I think he's a great kid. without a doubt, a fucking amazing player, right? So he understood in Rio he needs to do more and take more risks and kind of lead his team on the server a bit more. And now he will, I hope, understand that he has to keep his emotions in check a little bit more.
He needs to direct that energy into demanding more of his teammates because he can't do anymore.
He seems like
So
way
start-
too much of a
start-
nice guy for that. He seems like way too much
Yeah.
of a nice guy for that. But yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm not saying ragdoll them around the room and like,
Yeah.
you know, yell in their face or anything, but just fucking like say, boys, like
Not take them to Jason's basement and
just sit them
use all the tools.
sit them down and say, listen, boys, like I'm fucking giving it the sauce here day in, day out. Can you just give me something? Like, can we stop some of these fucking opening deaths, Nafany, please? Just give me a fucking chance, bro. Like, just sit him down and have a chat and go, Buster, what's going on, mate? We brought you in to be experienced. Where is it? Like, ask a little bit of him.
Bro,
Who's
that-
another player that
that-
you think needs to do the same thing?
What you mean, like
Sorry, Jason.
that needs to like step up?
Which
and,
team?
Like, be,
More demanding of his teammates and tell him to stop fucking up and give him a chance.
Wait, give me the team.
You should know. It's the same role.
Same role, Orpa. Oh, Zywoo.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we heard
Okay.
that from his
Yeah, okay.
teammate and his coach.
I was a bit
at
slow
Pro League.
there. Yeah, I'm with you.
What were you gonna say, Jason?
dude, I was just gonna say that Mirage T side from Cloud9 was so ugly. That might have been one of the more painful T sides I watched. Like, I don't even. It was so bad. I don't even know where to like pin the issues. Like, there's the obvious one of like the one that's been swirling around this team with Nafany's calling and like high pressure games, especially. Some of those T side rounds were just so like uninspired, just like defaults where you just like don't do anything and someone gets picked off. The fact that Exile went from having 21 kills in the first half on the CT side to having 7 kills total on the T side, including overtime rounds. Like these guys just disappeared in that second half, and that was
but listen,
so hard to watch.
I'm not a Nafany fan, but I'm not a Nafany hater,
No,
really.
I'm not a hater either.
I'm not a
Because, like,
hater, but
I feel like Groove has a good amount of pull to their style, right? So,
Sure.
so I can't blame Nafany for their style. I can blame him for when the game is live, for maybe some of the things like that happen, you know, or some of the calls or whatever. But you look at that T side as well. Listen, I don't mind them running out of time and shit. Like, that's Cloud9. The only difference is when the game isn't as high pressure and FaZe isn't coming back against them, they won't run out of time. They'll have that they'll be those 5 extra seconds faster in doing whatever it is that they're doing and be 5 seconds more decisive, so you won't see that happen. And that's the pressure getting to them. So that's the bigger problem than their style,
Well,
right? The
that-
style looks bad because they're letting the pressure affect them. And man, there was 2 or 3 rounds that I distinctly remember where Carrigan is just out-dueling Exile, who is B on T side, like trying to put pressure, and Carrigan just kills him like 2 or 3 times. Oh no, 3 times maybe too much.
Yeah,
but
that-
2 times I definitely remember, right? And those are like awkward fights. That isn't like Carrigan getting lucky and like killing him without Exile having a chance. Like, he has a chance to win that fight, and he just doesn't. You know, so, and I think this was with Exile was like a little bit stinky with me. Is like some of these games, sure, like especially the FaZe games, he's been playing amazing in those series, but man, sometimes in these big series, like his stats are good, but if you look at like the important rounds where the game is super close, like I don't know, sometimes
He's
it
just
feels
gone.
there's something missing. Not as much with Shiro, but sometimes with him, and I don't know if that's because
a T side like this
the
that gets
pressure gets
bogged
to him a
down.
little bit, I don't know.
A T side like this that gets bogged down, you want someone like Exile to be the guy who's like, I'm gonna make a fucking play on this T side that's gonna find us an opening kill, right? Like, that's what you want out of your star player when there's that kind of a T side that's just getting wrecked. And he just like disappeared in this one, and it's
I
consistent.
think
Like
you've
he
located
has.
the issue, though, Jason. You've located the issue. Do you think that this could at all be correlated with why some of Nafany's entry attempts are so desperate? Is because nobody else, like, if Axel's having issues with finding entries or doesn't like feel the game in that way, or Shiro's not aggressively looking for a pick with an AWP or whatever, Do you think that contributes to why Nafany maybe makes some of these solo individual plays, and then he's giving up a lot of opening deaths across both halves? We got Yanko's looking for a bottle opener right now, Jason. So I'm just keeping up to
it's
date
all
with the
good.
happenings of the room.
I mean, it could be that. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all. My biggest issue with Nafany on this kind of a T side is where it's like, dude, I even had my brother texting me like, "What the fuck is going on with this T side?" Just watching it, I was like, at a certain point, if you're calling defaults on Mirage on this T side, and like you're calling a default and Buster gets pushed and picked off at a ramp like 30 seconds into the round by like an aggressive CT play from FaZe, and then you're calling a default and someone gets picked off, over at A or B, and then your catwalk play gets smoked off and you get delayed. It's like, stop calling these kind of like defaults that aren't getting you anything. Like, where's the change of just being like, you know what, the defaults are getting annihilated at the moment. Let's just call a set piece. Like, let's change it up. Let's call a contact play. Let's mix up the timings.
They don't have them.
I know, but that's where I have the most frustration
That's
with
the
Nafany.
problem.
And it's like that's where I do put the blame at the in-game leader of Nafany or Groove. It's like, why don't we have that deeper playbook at this point in your lifetime as a team to be able to switch things up, even if it's just for a round or two at the moment, to give FaZe a different look, to not let them be so comfortable knowing they're going against
VP
defaults.
Well, they had it. They until
did.
they added Fame and Norbert.
Yeah,
And then
and
you
then they
could
lost
see
it,
slowly the change, right? Like first it was just in half buys that they were faster. And then it was in gun rounds too. And even at Pro League, even with Chiron at Pro League, I remember I was try-casting with someone and I was being like sarcastic about it, right? It's like, oh, what? It's 120 or 115 in the round? Outsiders are into the bomb site? I thought they play super slow all the time. So even then they had it a little bit, not to the same extent, but you have to remember, guys, this was Gambit youngsters.
Yeah.
Okay, the core of this team, 4 of the 5 players. You think Nafany, when he's 17 years old at the time, or 18, or whatever he is, you think he's deciding how they're going to play? No, it was there, and their coach wasn't Groove at the time; it was Finn. Then he got banned, then Groove stepped in. So, like, that style doesn't come from Nafany. Like, he's being taught to call that style. So,
True.
I wouldn't blame him on the style. But, of course, once you start winning and you become really good, like, you also get more mature
Taking some
as a
ownership.
player. And you need to take some ownership and say, listen, like, okay, the style, that's how we play, that's great. But we need more variety. Just for the sake of it, if anything. Like, this will be our style, but we need to at least show this on tape, as you like to say it, right? So the other team knows we're capable of it. And when we feel the timing is right, actually, in a game, we actually know how to switch it up and change things and, try something else instead of just doing the same thing. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
It sounds like with a lot of this, though, we're identifying that there's too many passengers in the team. Right, normally we would say there's too many like cooks in the kitchen. Well, this sounds like there's not enough. Like if they're not diversifying their playbook or whatever. Like then I go to Hobbit. I'm like, you won a major, mate. You're the most experienced member of this team. You're the most accomplished member of this team. Well, what are you going to start holding the boys accountable? Because I mentioned that with Shiro. Like what's going on?
But it's not even just holding people accountable, man.
Well, the pressure and all
it's
that
just
has to be a
no,
part
but
of it somehow.
the style puts so much pressure on you to deliver all the time. Like, look at, if there's one team that you could see playing that style, it would be FaZe. But they
Sure.
don't, but they actually play. Cloud9 should play the way FaZe plays, which is most predominantly default,
Get yourself into the mid range.
right? And get yourself in the, and then put your players in a position where they can make plays, where they have space to make plays and have 1v1s where they have a little bit of an advantage in a duel, right? But then again, you have an in-game leader who's experienced enough and smart enough to know,
Perhaps the most
to
experienced
know
in-game
what
leader.
he did. Yes, exactly. So that's not really fair. But in a sense of to know how he conditioned his opponent, but by what he has been doing so far, so that he can make a freeze time call that he believes will work because of what they did up until that point. One of the most, let's try to, like, this is a pretty banal example, but let's say you're playing default a lot on Mirage on T side and you're taking mid control and you're splitting them 2 gun rounds in a row, you do that. Well, then let's say you're expecting an adjustment for them to
They have
fight
to
for
fight
mid,
mid, yeah.
right? So what do you do then? You just throw the window smoke, top mid smoke, molly connector with one guy, throw some flashes over, and you just pop A, right? And you smoke top con, you smoke jungle, or you molly jungle, and you're probably going to have just one guy there. You trade with him, or you kill him, you plant the bomb, and that's it. Like, that's, pretty basic things. You won't see it in Tier 1 CS play out like that very often. But that's an example for you how a freeze time call will work because your default worked beforehand. And I feel like you need to be able to do that to have a lot of success on the Tier 1 because people are so good at adjusting. And
there's so much variation now, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the issues. Like, the default can only account for so much. A default can't account for when these teams are doing these really aggressive set pieces, or it's a really well-timed pop flash and it's isolating a player because you're defaulting. It's just one guy working halls, and Robs can isolate that fight and win that duel.
And for people talking shit about Buster, I mean, it's not like you see, he's my brother and I'm here defending him.
Oh,
but
okay.
I will say a couple of things. It's like, I watched that game closely, the Mirage game. And I saw he was getting like once or twice, he was maybe a little bit unlucky with how things played out because he moved just as FaZe was pushing A ramp. Otherwise, he could have got an easy kill. Then Rain peeks him deep T-spawn from that ledge where you throw the stair smoke from. It's like mental, and he gets the kill on him. And a couple of times, FaZe had like really good flash plays, which tells me they prepared really well for where he likes to stand. And now you'll say, well, why didn't Buster adjust? Well, because Cloud9 had to play fucking 5 best-of-3s in a day and a half.
Yeah.
Like, you're just constantly, like, you're playing all the time. You're thinking about the next opponent, and your team is maybe giving you, like, scouting reports or whatever. You're not really self-scouting as much.
No, these RMR formats were fucking dog shit.
Dude, this is so stupid. And it was the Inner Shine, the analyst from FaZe, who was bringing it up, and not to complain about phases, but mostly from the RMRB teams.
Yeah.
And that was Cloud9. They had to play 2 games, then they had to play early. And another thing that I really didn't understand, and this is the type of things I would bitch about if I was a coach of the team, right? Why is Big playing the late game? I mean, I know why they're playing the late game of the first game of the LCQ, right? Mm-hmm. And then their next game is scheduled at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, but that's the
Why
thing.
is it at 10 a.m.? And then the FaZe Cloud9 game started at 5 p.m. Why does it start at 5 or 4 p.m., right? Like, why doesn't it start at 8? And then the 10 a.m. game should start at, even noon is way better, or 1 p.m. I'll explain to you guys why I'm saying this. Is because if my game is scheduled to start at 10 a.m., that means my players are required to be at the playing area at like probably 9:20 or 9:15. That means I need to wake them up. They need to be awake latest at 8 a.m.
Yeah. And
right?
7:30 if things are going well.
You all are gamers that are listening to this. Which one of you motherfuckers that is not 30 years old and has a full-time job likes waking or has to wake up at 8 a.m., right? Absolutely nobody. And even today, where the practice schedules are more sane and looking more like normal jobs, no one searches practice before like 11 a.m. Almost. Maybe a couple of teams, most not before noon, because you like to do some theory before practice. So just the schedule is unreasonable. Like, you're making the players have to wake up too early. They're not used to it. They're not going to be super focused, super well rested. And also, you have to brief them before the game, at least a little bit. I understand it's a game where you play a lot, so maybe you're not going to bother them too much with preparation. You're more going to change the way you play, like the way you call your sequences or whatever. But still, it's like, why is this the case? Like, why is the schedule the way it is? It made no sense to me, right? Like, some teams
what was
are just
going
in a more
on that final day? It was it 3 best-of-3s? Was Vitality? There was a Vitality game on, right?
Yeah, but that's like a game that's just for seeding.
Yeah. So, but was that played on the mainstream? Were all 3 of the games on the mainstream? So, because if what you're saying is,
I don't think so. I think
so
there
there
was
an
2
overlap.
streams. There was two streams on last day.
Then the only reason for that would be because they wanted to be finished earlier. Right,
So,
which is from a competitive standpoint is a bad
exactly.
reason.
So I, as a coach, would say, I don't give a fuck when you want to finish. I want to qualify for the fucking major.
Yeah.
I don't want to play at 10 a.m. when I finish my game at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. the other day.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, move it, or I won't show up. I won't play, and then you deal with the fucking scandal of saying that. Listen, man, I said the same thing on this podcast after the Rio Major. I said if I were Heroic, I would be fucking pissed. Because they played the second semifinal like against Furia with all the emotion that goes into that. They finished around 11 p.m. Then the final is scheduled at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Why?
But we know why.
Why isn't it at 6? Yeah, because of viewers and the different time zone.
yeah.
But that's not my problem if I'm Heroic.
But that's
And
where we
listen-
get into the issues.
And listen, but that's the thing. It's like people can tell me, ESL or Blast can tell me, fuck you, shut the fuck up, you have to play then. It's in the contract, whatever, in the agreement, you signed it. And I'll come and play. If that's the case, I'll come and play. But I want it somewhere noted that I protested this shit.
Sure.
Right? Like, I want to protest
You wanna be
this
on the
and
record.
object this.
Yeah, go as objected.
Exactly. I want to be on the fucking record. Dude, we had this thing at Pro League as well, where Navi played the second round of whatever, 24.
16 or 12
They
or-
played
yeah, yeah.
the last game, and then they played the first game on the next day out of the 2 or something like that. I was like, are we sure Navi is okay with this? Like, I understand why we scheduled, because Liquid was the late game.
Sure.
So we wanted, like, because
And
of
a
any-
viewership.
right? And they said they checked it with Navi and they were okay. At that point, I shut the fuck up. If they're fine with it, I don't care. Teams look at things different way. But I was very not peculiar, but
Particular. Yeah.
about this sort of shit. Because I also had players who were very fucking particular.
Sure. But this is where
Peculiar.
this is where we blend.
Particular.
This is where that line, right?
Penis.
This is the problematic line that we find ourselves in, because the me that's existed for the majority of my life leans heavily into the competitive side being the most important side, right? But,
Yes.
But this is the issue: is first and foremost, this stuff has to be paid for, right? And I fucking hate this because it's such yes man.
I love that. I love that
And
you're taking this angle.
I'm not. I'm just presenting it so I can crush it in moments time.
Okay, sure.
And then the other side of things is what was the first thing? Did I say making money?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes,
someone has to pay
someone
for it.
has to pay
Not
for
spending,
this.
but then it is also about making the money, right? Getting the sponsors to come in and trying to make it a profitable business. So it's always that balancing act between the two, right? But then I think, well, let's fucking downscale then, because we're doing something like wrong, right? Like if that's the case, then we've scaled too quickly. Just like all these fucking orgs out there that are going under because they don't even get me started on that shit again, right? So then we've scaled incorrectly. Like we've made a bad business model. How is the business model not making money? What have we done wrong? Where are we spending too much money? How have we gotten too big? Where has that happened? And then let's address that. Are the venues too big? Are we not are we paying players too much money? Right?
Yes.
Is the prize money too much? Right?
No.
You start asking all these. Are we trying to put on too fancy of a production? Should it be more raw? Right? Does it need to be like? Do we need the pyrotechnics and the fucking million lighting rigs? Does it need to be a concert where Justin Bieber could walk out on the fucking stage and perform? Do we have to do that? Like, is that the best option? Who says that's the best option? Why did we decide that's the best option?
Oh,
I don't fucking know,
No,
man.
you were legit
I don't either.
asking.
I got no idea.
I thought you were just dramatic pause there.
No,
and then
I got
you're
no
going to-
idea. Why we decided this is the best
Well,
option?
I think
Well,
it's because.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jason.
Well,
it's not financially viable.
No, but I think part of like the sales structure and the money making structure obviously is a lot of those decisions are made because they want to make sure there's a show for the people who pay the money for the tickets to travel to the event to actually come and have an experience once they're there. Now, I don't know like if there's not fucking
But why is
fireworks
that
and
the value of the
pyrotechnics.
experience?
That's
Let
the
the man
question.
finish.
All right.
No,
He's
I
still cooking.
All right. I'm letting
no,
you cook.
I'm with Chad on this one. I don't know if that's necessary to have people into the arena to have that kind of an experience. I don't know if there's places that we can cut down on that.
What are they there? What, for fucking fireworks and a clown to walk around the arena
Yeah,
or to watch
no,
some fucking Counter Strike?
Well, are you calling
I get
Paul a
it.
clown?
No, that was not. I didn't. I just meant like some.
I mean, I knew you hated him, but Jesus.
I didn't.
Well,
mean-
This
this
way too public.
this
man.
comes full circle to like what Yanko brought up earlier about like not having storytelling at the RMRs, and we know from all of us having certain conversations about wanting to have like being able to do a little bit more on desks over the years, and it's like, does that change the bottom line if we give more time to this if we give more time to X to do Y? Is that actually going to change the viewership?
Well,
Are people
does
going
it
to
even
tune in?
have to be
all
that though?
No, but it depends on how you look at it. All right, so I'll say two things. First thing, Chad, the reason why we're doing things this way is because in the early days, I guess that people who were in those positions, they always felt shunned by the mainstream.
Fuck the mainstream.
Media. Exactly, right? But they felt shy and they wanted to prove that we can be as big and we can fill the Lanxess and create like
What
an event.
bitch mentality that is.
Well, you know, but you'll agree that Cologne is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's sick.
So
I fucking love the
there's
fireworks
a part
in
of
Cologne.
that
It's great.
where we were copying some of the things because we wanted to prove that a video game can do the same thing that basketball can,
Sure.
or hockey can, and you know, which sounded insane 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's like probably accepted, right? Sure, it's not, you know, it's not every day that we can feel the Lanxess for everything, but for this one thing we can do it. And there's a deeper discussion to be had. Is Pro League the way, you know, like, is that how even larger tournaments should be broadcast?
This is what I want.
That's where I know that you were going there with it, like that you were thinking that this is the way to go for Counter-Strike or whatever, and
No, there's evolution.
that's a whole different
further.
conversation, and you know, I don't want to get into that necessarily right now, but the second part of what I want to, what was that you were talking about, Jason?
Fucking money.
Like the like the storytelling, is it actually going to change the bottom line? Is like, if are you
Look,
Yes.
a
No,
t-shirt gun's
listen,
not
this is
gonna
the second
change
part,
shit.
and I'll tell you how it will, because there's two models, right? How you make money in any sports and whatever it is, right? One of them is through broadcasting rights, like media deals, you know.
yeah.
ESPN pays $300 million over 3 years to broadcast Counter-Strike on their channels.
Sure.
The other one is pay-per-view, which is UFC, boxing, and all of that stuff, right? So for the first one, you have to be so big, like your audience has to be so big, where the network finds it lucrative to broadcast
Put
your thing,
sponsors on it.
and then sponsors will buy ad time
Yeah.
because there's so many people watching.
Yep.
I don't think we can be there
Anytime.
in
soon.
another 10 years or more than that.
Yeah, that's a pretty difficult model to pull off.
But, and I actually, I don't think even the UFC model is not in the near history, because we don't have enough people who would be willing to pay
To watch.
yeah, like
we
that.
would lose a lot of our
that
audience.
thing, because you would
So you're
lose
saying
all
we're
your
fucked
audience.
both ways.
Well, we just have to, no. We just need to keep at it and grow. But I was
Yeah.
going to say this, Jason, is that giving more time. You know, the desk doesn't move the needle and all this stuff. But if actually you committed to it and committed to the storytelling and the narratives and letting people, you know, allowing us to do our job to an extent which would lead to people not buying into storyline means like we're selling something, but that's like, you know, it's not buying into it, just kind of seeing this and getting hooked and addicted to some of these stories like we did. I think then you could make an average viewer be willing to pay $5 to watch,
The event.
you know,
Yeah. A
let's
big
say,
match or a
listen,
weekend
I'm
match
not saying
is-
they would pay $5 to watch this event, but they would pay $5 to watch Cologne, online even, you know, and get everything. Depending on where
A decent amount. We'd lose a lot of people, but a decent amount, yeah. I think we'd have a
and I
decent
don't say we
interest.
can't do it right now. We probably can't do it 3 years from now. But if we commit and like we actually create a valuable product online, then maybe, who knows? But I mean, the thing is, like, it doesn't work that way where we sell it first and then, you know, like, we need to create something that people will want to be a part of, and then they might be willing to pay for
Don't
it.
you
You know
think
what
that's
I mean?
the problem though? Because all we do in esports is continue to give features that if it was in traditional media, which we so want to be like apparently, we keep giving it away for fucking free. We just make more shit and give it away for free. We don't put anything behind a paywall because we know that our audience won't pay for it. So then we're hoping that we can make every second or third thing we do get enough clicks to justify the fucking value. But a lot of the stuff we do content-wise, we don't even have fucking sponsors behind. So we're out there getting views on shit that isn't even fucking sponsored at the moment. Like,
Yeah, but that's also, you know better than I do, and Jason knows this as well. It's like, sorry. It's because, like, we don't sell things properly. I feel like we could get more
but
sponsors
that's another
if
thing
we
as well.
pitched better and offer them better things.
But that is something that, you know, hopefully we can talk about
fix
in the
over the
future.
years.
That's something we can go in a good direct. Because like, I don't know what the model is for viewing Counter Strike. And again, I don't even know what the best angle is. Is it an entertainment angle? Is it the competition selling it? Is the fact that it's just watching the best players in the world go toe to toe, which might mean you lose a Cloud9 at your major, right? For example, because there will be these upsets. Now, there's obviously ways that we can try and avoid that or do better with the formatting of the RMRs. Like, I think the seeding is still the biggest fucking issue over there.
I apologize. This was way too loud in the mic, but we just got the message chat for the call. For
It's
the shuttle
8:30,
times.
right? 8:30?
It's fucking 8:30, dude.
Yeah. Did you know that?
8:30.
I already put it in the group. It was 8:30, man.
Actually, I'm saying this with so much dread in my voice, but combined with the jet lag, which I did a great job at beating, I'll probably lights out at 11 p.m. So 8 hours sleep, 7 a.m. Go and get some brekkie, do some.
Where the fuck is Harry and Hugo?
They arrived.
No.
They arrived like 5 minutes. They're on the shuttle
Oh, shit,
to the
they did.
hotel.
Welcome.
What a party.
Dude, we did a nice song for our talent manager today, Jason, to get us a shuttle.
A song.
That was
Oh,
because-
did you
Like
like
betting.
sing a song
Yeah.
saying "Where the fuck is my shuttle"
Yeah,
type
yeah, yeah.
situation?
Yeah.
No,
We can't
no,
play
no.
it because we
We'll
can't
it'll be
monetize
copyright.
this, and
Yeah.
we're making so much money.
I sent this to Rush. You ready for this? Here
I'm
we
ready
go.
for this.
This is gonna be loud. This is just this is me eating the barbecue outside that Yanko was talking about.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You make a great villain laugh.
Thanks, I've been
Chad.
practicing, and
Yeah,
all it is
that's
is
not
like
bad.
pictures of like people giving Rush the finger. We have Trace,
Oh yeah, he was just going around.
Alex,
Hey,
Yanko.
can you do it? No, I actually asked because I saw Chad take a picture of himself giving the middle finger to someone. I was like, "Who's that for?" Rush. Oh, take a picture of me as well.
Yeah.
So
We kind of got a
I
chain
volunteered.
going on
Yeah,
there.
you guys got all excited about it. That's cool. That's cute.
Yeah, well, Rush has got a bit of an attitude lately. He's looking for a couple fights.
Is he in Brazil?
oh, is he here?
Yeah, he's in Brazil.
Oh shit, I haven't seen him today.
Dang.
Yeah, he wants to start swinging. That
They
little
got him out of the
fucking crump.
cave. I like it.
Well, it takes a lot to get him, but mate, his hotel's like, yeah, I don't want to dox him. We're not going to.
He's not at the same hotel.
No. Well,
Oh, hell
he's-
yeah.
Well, he wasn't last time either.
Yeah, he
That's
doesn't.
true.
I have a nicer view.
Last
this
time it was a
Jason.
major,
I can see the. That's true. I
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Let's spice it up again. What? Oh, wait, how do I put this? It's
There we
like,
go.
why does Duncan have this infatuation with some random ass guys like Kenny, for example? Why does he think Kenny can be good still? Or MSL for that matter. Like, I don't believe either of the guys will do fuck all anymore in CSGO.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Or
MSL.
CS2 for that matter.
I don't think MSL's worth the wait to take those battles the way he has over the years. But Duncan's always had like a soft spot for like some of those old school guys that probably he feels like are not judged as accurately as they should have been in the past. Like a hindsight judgment. Like don't get enough credit. Like he probably feels like MSL doesn't get enough credit for how good of an in-game leader he was back in the day. Keddy, outside of like obviously got plenty of credit in like the 2014, 2015, but I don't know. I could make some estimations, but
Listen, I'll say this. I don't think MSL is bad. Far from, I think Kenny S is bad. But, trying to present MSL like he's the second coming of Glaive or something like that,
actually,
like
with everything
taking
we
it-
know about MSL, I feel like he would be one of like the in-game leaders that struggled the most to catch up to the current meta and style of play.
Like, for example, I feel like Duncan would be the guy who would take MSL over Shui as an in-game leader. Like if he was making a team. If he was a GM of a team, he would take MSL over like Shui.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. Like
Yeah, Chad doesn't want to talk about this. Let's change.
No, like it's like I don't know. I don't know why he feels
doesn't
the
wanna
way
do
he
it.
feels. Like I feel a certain way about some players.
XCLG Red Shimmer claim ESL Impact League
Now we're
Season 3
talking.
final spot.
Now we're
Now we're
cooking.
fucking cooking with gas right here. Well, look, something that I did want to ask, and this was before we were talking about Cloud9, and I know this is like full hindsight Harry's shit going on right here, and I asked this with no predetermined answer behind it.
Right.
Is Buster the right pick for fucking Cloud9?
Jason, I'm
I
letting you pick this up.
Yeah, I don't mind the Buster
Okay, I'll
pick.
pick this up.
I think the answer. Well, I think there's two like angles to this one. Like I think we don't. Like I don't think we talk enough about for Cloud9. You know, they've been like trying to make that one move that's the hardest move to make to take you from like 99% to 100%.
Yeah, but was this the move? Was this the move?
It doesn't seem
'Cause
like it.
I know
came
we're
around a
looking
little
for
bit
the
on it.
move.
I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it's done enough to get them to where they have to go.
That's a good point.
It's not
Listen,
the cause of their issues.
I like
No.
Booster. I like him. And yeah, he had a terrible Mirage T side, especially against FaZe, but you can't just look at that. You have to look at the body of work, and I can see what they meant by bringing him in, what it brings. And a lot of it was in terms of communication and initiative and some of the experience, and that's fine. He's never. You can't look at Booster having 6 kills and being like, that's why they lost. And then you overlook the fact that Exile had like 2 kills in gun rounds on T side. Like,
I'm fucking done.
you know, like Booster is not the problem. So that just tells you that change wasn't like as grand, like that position change.
It didn't
Yeah.
have the impact.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like, so no player you bring in instead of
Yeah, I don't think
Inters,
he's the problem.
right? Exactly. So the
He just
problem
wasn't the move.
exactly.
the problem-
He's
the
not the problem. He's not the solution either.
The problem they have at this point now is like you have to change more now, don't you? After failing to qualify for this major,
I don't know, man. This is
But,
what
like,
this
where
event
where
is,
would you
like,
where do
all
you
about
go?
for them?
You're not going to change
We're
out
about to find out,
Booster,
right?
Yeah, but like
Chad, say what you told to me earlier.
Oh fuck! I don't know what I said earlier. What did I say?
You said just keep Shiro in exile.
Oh yeah, rebuild the whole thing.
Rebuild the whole thing.
Start again.
Jesus Christ.
I think no, because those players are good. Just start again.
You don't keep
Just,
Hobbit?
It doesn't matter. Why? Give me one reason.
what do you mean?
There's
He's
a whole
been
new
like
game coming out.
true.
Build a new team,
That's
Jason.
fair.
Who gives a fuck now? The future doesn't matter anymore. We're not living in the next CSGO major. I'm going to fucking say it. It's about to be the last CSGO major.
Oh,
Jason.
he's finally bought into the hype. He finally bought into it. He's been listening to it seething. He's been on the toilet shitting his brains out, listening to people say the last CSGO major.
Oh, so wait, your shit was just the color of your shorts.
We finally
but
brought
it's
him
like,
around.
What's the next majors? My point is, the next
No,
major's not till
yeah.
fucking March next year. Just fucking do something new. Just after this next major, when all the teams are in roster shuffles, just start again. Who gives a fuck? You're not going to set yourself that far back. There will be a learning curve at the start of CS2. So make your
Yeah.
changes
Well,
now.
I think you'd have to have that'd be a tough place as a GM of C9, but you'd have to have a lot of confidence that Hobbit's going to be able to like
Get
keep up
Jack
and
on the
grind a
phone,
little
Jason.
bit. And you sit there. What do you mean? He's a European team. I doesn't give a fuck about what the North Americans think anymore. But I mean,
Okay.
I think you honestly like if I'm Cloud9, I'm thinking you stay with that core: Exile, Shiro, Hobbit, and you entertain all offers for Buster and Nafany. Like you just do.
Booster.
Boosters.
But it's too many. It's too many. They'll keep the same identity.
No, but-
you need 3.
No, I'll tell you.
Two's not
it's,
enough.
It's not just that, Chad. Groove can't be the coach of that team.
Fuck, you're
All
right.
right? Like, I
Oh,
like Groove.
no.
I consider him a friend even.
You guys had dinner
You know-
last week.
But
Oh shit.
yeah, man, that's not going to influence my opinion, Jason. I'm not a bitch. I think Groove needs to be the GM of that team. He needs to be the level above the coach.
Okay.
Right? And he can even have a say in like the general way of how the team should be built and the way the team should be played by the day-to-day stuff, and especially standing behind the team.
Bring in Hooch.
No, maybe not. I don't know who. I don't have a name for you right now.
Bring
right?
in
But I
Dustin.
think it has to be someone else who's a little bit more energetic, perhaps, and a little bit more open-minded to doing things.
I've got the perfect name.
Who?
Zona. Remember how much that guy used to yell?
Jesus Christ. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to make a serious point here.
Chad's jet lag is
other
really
than-
seeping into his fucking brain right now.
Other than that, it's like Hobbit or no Hobbit. Like I don't know. I'm not sure I've given up on him completely, but I'm not. I don't think he hasn't convinced me enough that I can be like, oh yeah, he absolutely needs to stay. Yeah, you absolutely need to keep Shiro in exile, And listen, we don't know the inner workings of that team. Perhaps Nafany feels like they do need to do the things that we were talking about, but maybe Groove is saying, no, we keep at it this way. Let's just put ourselves in that hypothetical situation.
It could be possible.
All of a sudden, Nafany is way better than he seems.
As long as he just with the swings, bro. Like sometimes the play is gonna work, but in a game when it hasn't worked for 3 times, just do it to get traded.
And he should never play connector on Mirage and all these things. Like, of course, but who knows? Maybe that's. Again, we don't know these things, and I'm not saying this because I know things and I'm pretending that I don't. Like, but maybe someone thinks maybe Exile is one of the. Listen, Coldzera, right? One of the best players in the world, never played Con, right? He was a cat player. You know, you just have some of these guys who Nico on the other side of things always played Con. So you can't just. I'm saying this because it's not like you can just tell Exile go play Con. Maybe he just doesn't fucking want it. He doesn't like it. He's fine with Cat, and he's really good playing Cat. And why would you move him somewhere where he doesn't want to be and make him less effective?
Fuck
right?
that.
So
Grow up.
maybe no one else in.
Fuck that. I hate that shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate that
look
like
on Yanko's face.
Fucking
no, dude. It's so crazy to think that like a player would just be like,
to be nice.
I know, but it's so crazy because like we've heard that a number of times out of certain players, and it's so crazy to think that players are just like, I'm a cat player. I'm just gonna be a cat player. I don't want to fucking move on this map. It's
Jason,
my
we're
spot.
talking about Counter-Strike players, you motherfucker. What do
I
you
know,
mean,
but
man?
You were
Jesus
coaching
fucking
Liquid.
Christ.
You're coming up with this fucking point. Are you fucking kidding me?
Dude, I think it's so fucking weak to just have one of your star players just be like, nope, I'm comfortable where I am, so we're gonna leave this part of the map just completely fucking exposed.
Oh
with the
yeah,
critical
because
parts of the
fucking
map.
Exile uses alpha mentality.
Oh my god, this is great. I'm loving it.
Well, again, that's the problem we've been
Says
getting
Chad
at.
as he's falling asleep to the sound of his own voice.
I'm in fucking stitches. This is fucking hilarious. Oh my god.
No, we
Anyway,
we
Cloud9
did.
out of the major. Fuck Cloud9. Let's talk about someone who qualified.
Wait, are we talking about? Are we going to do like
This
a
has
real
been-
prave now? Or?
This has been like the shit
Dude,
on
look at the
Cloud9
fucking
episode.
Legends teams. Okay, Legends teams.
Yeah,
not too sincere.
it's not great.
9, Furia.
Can we not go down this road? This is-
Heroic, into the fucking breach, Vitality, and Bad News Eagles.
This is the first part
And
of the
Fnatic made
conversation.
it there, but by not playing a top 30 team.
This is the first part of the conversation that leads us
fun
down a
thing.
format
You got-
conversation. I don't want to go down this road.
I don't want to. No, we're not going to go down this road. I'm just going to say the results were so fucked at the RMRs and the seedings are so whack that actually the matchups make sense, right? Because G2 is playing the Mongols, where G2 is the lower seed.
Yeah, it's all
Maybe
It
I don't
worked
know.
out.
Maybe I'm lying.
It worked out. In
But
the
FaZe
wash,
is
didn't it?
playing. Who is FaZe playing? They're also playing.
OG.
Like, no.
I'm pretty sure it's OG.
No. FaZe is playing Monty.
Oh, they're playing.
FaZe is playing Monty.
Let me check.
like
Yeah,
the
FaZe is
opening
playing
Why do I think-
Monty. Pain is playing
OG
game.
here
Pain
at this event.
Fluxo.
Pain Fluxo, G2
G2
Mongols, Gamer Legion Complexity, Fours Greyhound, Apex Liquid, NIP versus Mouse, and then OG versus Ents. Those are the opening challengers matches.
OG Ants. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that now. There's plenty of time to talk about the major. Let's talk about Rio a little bit. You
Okay.
guys feel
I
good
need
about
to, I
that?
need to check this. Who are FaZe playing here?
They're playing here.
9Z. Where the fuck did I get FaZe OG from? Did they play at the RMR? Did FaZe play OG at the RMR
I
in the
don't know.
first round? I think they did. I swear to God, fuck it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But I think for this event, obviously, being so close to the being right after the RMR and so close to the major, that's what's going to influence a lot of these teams. So let's just we already talked about Cloud9 and them being dead on arrival and Big being super disappointed, and all the tiers today at the 1xBet thing were acronyms, right? So the middle one was IDK. I don't know.
okay.
And I put FaZe there for one reason. And the top one was FTW for the win. The one in between.
fuck that witch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in between it was Blade just wanted to draw a spicy pepper. So
Okay.
and then the fourth one was NT.
Nice try.
Yeah. But in the case, I put FaZe because of one simple reason, right? Like I don't know what their mindset is coming into this tournament. because they were on an emotional roller coaster in the RMR, right? Having to wait until the final game to even make it to the major. So now they're coming here. Obviously, they have the quality to win the tournament.
Yeah.
That's not getting into the question. The thing is like what is their thought process about approaching this tournament? Like, of course, they're in it to win the games.
Yeah.
But the manner in which you approach the matchups matters. Like, are they going to come in and say, hey, we want to play some of the maps that we didn't really play as much at the RMR because we practiced them beforehand to see if this shit that
It's
we
gonna
practice works or not.
Yeah.
So we get some feedback coming into the major and our preparation for the major. Or is their thought process going to be like, hey, we managed to qualify, like we're on this
Let's
emotional
fucking win.
high.
Yeah.
Let's come here, let's fucking wreck everyone and instill
Put the
fear
of God in 'em,
exactly
yeah.
put the fear into our opponents. Let's build our own confidence as well. Like, you're never gonna say that to your team, like, let's build our own confidence.
But
Like,
if you win here, you
but
put you
that's
in a
what as a
really good
coach you
place.
think about
Yeah.
that, like how you're going to could do it. And yeah, if they win, they're in a really good place, of course. And I don't think, I said this today as well, no team, like even if FaZe wins this or Vitality or Heroic, none of these teams are going to be, or Navi are going to be complacent coming into their preparation because they won this tournament.
No, not at all.
Like, no one is going to take that shit. No one is going to take the challengers or the legend stage for granted, because everyone experienced at some point in the RMR.
Yeah, they got a wake up call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree. I think that's a fair angle there. I think that there's obviously the flip side of all of this, right? In the sense that maybe they come in and the relief that they're on right now is just how they, all right, let's just play and we'll just see what happens. You know, we'll just play and look, that could backfire. That could definitely backfire. Like, in the sense that if you get a couple of miserable results here, like you're playing 9Z in a best of one after getting off of a flight where you're probably just landing now. Right? Like, you lose that game, and then later in the day you play a best of 3 and you lose that as well. That would be really shit. You'd actually be kind of pissed off, right? You just flew all the way here to get knocked out in one day worth of play. So that there's a lot of ways you could, or the other angle, and I kind of don't like this one, but they come here, they give it a crack. If it does, okay, this is worst case scenario, but we still made the major. Let's just stay in Brazil, enjoy the sun, and play pracs here against the other teams for a week and get a boot camp in before the major.
Jason, you want me to blow your mind?
Fuck yeah, I do.
You know what I said today with no joke? It wasn't sarcastic or anything when we were doing this tier list. You know, the first team that I put into the FTW column?
Sure. You did Furia, didn't you?
Furia.
Oh, you sick fuck.
I did Furia. And I did it like I had justification for it.
The
because,
Brazil buff?
Yes, the Brazil buff, in the sense of also at the major, they peaked at the Rio major. Absolutely, you know.
Yeah.
They played by far the best. And sure, it's a different environment. There's not as much crowd, even in the group stage, obviously, and all of that stuff. But Furia is the one team you can argue that obviously the major still means more, but this tournament is pretty fucking close in terms of
being
how
a
it
home
means to
team.
them.
Yeah.
And they're going to try, and it means a lot more for them than any of these other teams, regardless of the narratives for the major. So, they're going to come into every game 110%. They play Fnatic in the first game,
Winnable game.
which is a game that, they beat them 2-0 in the Pro League playoffs, and then they play the winner of FaZe 9Z. FaZe can lose that best of one. Like, depending on
Is
how
that
they
still
come
a best
in.
of one?
That's the best of one? That's the first game. First game is their best of one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant if FaZe win against.
No,
No, it'd be a best of
Yeah.
three,
Yeah.
So-
the 19th.
but the winner, so Furia will play the winner of FaZe 9Z in a best of 3.
I see what you're saying.
Even if it's FaZe,
Yeah, I
man,
see what you're
Furia can beat FaZe in a best of 3 if FaZe is like,
saying. Lethargic.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Jet
And
lagged?
also, I imagine
can say
Furia
it.
is not as jet lagged. Even if they travel from NA, it's just 1 hour or 2.
No, I'm
3
pretty
hours.
sure
It's a long
they
flight,
I'm
though.
pretty sure they went back right from Mexico, I would imagine.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's the
That will
doing
make-
the RMRs, yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure how good practice they could get, but whatever. So that would put them in the playoffs. Winning those 2 games would put them in the playoffs, and then the crowd and all that stuff. And
That's true. That'd be quarterfinal.
it's been a long time coming. So if it could be the perfect storm for Furia to
Yep.
finally win a fucking event, and what better stage to do it than in front of their fans and home crowd in
Yeah,
Brazil?
Group B does look weaker.
I like all that. Problem is, like, Furia still looked like really shaky during the RMR. Like they still like look like a shadow of themselves. So that's, but I mean, yeah, there's a world. I don't know. I keep like when you brought up the fact that like this could be like an area for like teams to like do some like testing ground games of like what they're like preparing for the major. Like the first one that popped into my head was Furia, just because when they played, I mean this was like a seeding match for the Legends. They'd already made it to Paris, so it didn't have like quite the same consequences. But I mean, I felt like they were really like they allowed Overpass to get through. They picked Overpass, in fact, which was a map they hadn't played in 3 months at that point. You know, like they were really kind of, it felt like testing a map that they were trying to put into the map pool. So I don't know if they would do the same thing here, but I could see a universe in which most teams come into this and just say we're gonna really like let loose and try some things and see where we're at with some of our prep for the major.
I think it might be scrimmy. I think there could be some scrimminess for sure.
A little bit, but I think it depends on the teams, right? I really like this tournament.
I'm gonna run to the rest really
teams.
quick. You two take it over.
All
right, so the point I was going to say.
Just the two in the room.
You already heard it, Chad. So.
Okay. No, well, I'll hear it again for the first time.
No, you weren't there for this one, for this segment. Mm-hmm. So Vitality, right? I put Vitality in the FTW one because, for one...
You think it's important for them?
I think so.
Okay.
I think because they made it like into the Legends, and they needed to... They beat G2, right?
And
G2 played like shit. G2 played like shit, but still...
G2 looked dog shit in that game.
Still... You need to beat G2 regardless of how bad they're playing. Sure. And they did that easily. And then they beat Monty, whatever. But they won a lot of best of threes.
Yes.
You know, in a row after losing to 9, who seem to be playing really well themselves.
Really well. Yep.
You know, so for Vitality, it feels like they're picking up some steam. They're gaining some confidence.
So what are we talking? A grand final minimum, or they need the dub?
And that's the team that lost like that semifinal to, or whatever, quarterfinal to Liquid in Katowice after the 13-2, 12-3, you know, Overpass.
Collapse, yep.
So they've had some mad collapses. The lost to Ends and Pro League as well was horrendous. So I think for them it's important because, let me say it this way. If Vitality wins this event, then they are a contender for Rio.
Okay.
For
so you
Paris.
said the highest of the bars here. So do you think that's a combination
if
of
they
other
win
teams?
this, I feel like if they win this event, that gives them the confidence and the belief, and they will have the correct mindset in preparing for the major, right? Where they will come into it a different team. They will come into it like at beast mode. Zaiwu is Zaiwu. Like statistically, he's the best player of this year. I don't believe that. Like for me, he's not the best player this year. And, you know, I can't tell you who is, but he's not because... Some of the big series that they got eliminated, he didn't play all too well. But if they win this tournament, that can give them the boost necessary to really go to the next level. You know what's another team that doesn't need the win, but could be pretty close up there is Na'Vi.
Yeah, the thing with Na'Vi, in my mind, is they're just... I don't want to say they're happy with... Well, no, they would be happy. They would be very happy. No. They'd be content with maintaining this constant
I'll
playoffs.
tell you, Chad. I'll give you you know what Na'Vi is? That's the same answer I gave to people when they asked me, are you happy? Mm-hmm. I'll say, I'm not happy, but I'm not unhappy either.
Yeah, though they're content, right? And I think the thing is, the biggest thing for Na'Vi, making a case for them right now, is MPL playing really well during the RMRs. We're talking about how big of a high-pressure situation this is, and they fucking, I don't want to say they coasted through, but they got through.
They coasted.
Yeah.
And dominated phase.
Yeah.
2-0.
And MPL looked great in that series alongside Simple, which was fantastic.
So we said, like 2 months ago when we were doing this show, we were talking about, okay, so Simple, he's lost his edge a little bit, and then you have the whole MPL situation, and you remember Katowice and the interview, and it was looking grim. And all of a sudden, 2 months later, they're looking much better. You know, they have a super dominant performance at the RMR. MPL's playing better. So if they can maintain that, they're a contender. Listen, man, any team with fucking Simple and Electronic, right? And I saw on Reddit, I didn't read the article, but I saw something from Blade where he's saying, I can say with full confidence that Electronic now is a better in-game leader than Boomich was.
That was a fucking weird interview.
He was a good in-game leader.
Yeah, I know, but
I never rated Boomich.
I didn't read the interview, but whatever, you know. So if that's happening, if things are coming together, you know, the vibe in the team is probably going to be a little bit better too. It's not going to be as stressful for the younger players, and then Na'Vi can be pretty fucking dangerous because I don't think there's any doubt that they know CS in the team and the way they need to play, but the way they need to play against different opponents and how to beat a
to
team
put
like
them away.
Heroic, how to beat a team like G2, how to beat a team like FaZe. It's just that, that all doesn't come together the way they imagine it,
yeah.
they envision it.
They have an easy side of the bracket to get to the playoffs, right? Like NIP versus Imperial, they play the winner of that, and they play Mongols. So Navi should deal with Mongols, and then now NIP or Imperial, they should win either of those two games. I'm impressed that NIP made the. I'm impressed that NIP made the major. That's about it.
Yeah.
What do you think is more of a trap game, though, like for a best of one? Navi Mongols or FaZe 9Z? Like, if we're going to say 9Z can beat FaZe in a BO1, surely
FaZe
we can
9Z
say...
because of the travel
Navi is going
situation.
to be Mongols like 16-5.
The biggest issue with the FaZe 9Z game is, I think, the travel
after the
aspect.
last chance
Yeah.
qualifier. Yeah, you know it's funny. It's like
emotional dump. Ugh.
it's like deja vu for Navi. I feel right now. Like remember right before they won Stockholm, like the addition of Bit was looking grim. Perfecto wasn't looking spectacular, and then they had the Starladder online RMR qualifier that they just kind of like blew through, like went ape shit, and Bit looked amazing at it, and then they just like went off and went on that streak and won the major and a bunch of tournaments as well. They're doing like the same thing right now, where NPL hasn't looked that great, and then you get them in the RMR, and it all seemed to just like fucking click and fire up like right at the perfect moment. So like it's a very weird like circular time span that Navi's been on.
Simple chilling with Neymar, like
Yeah, dude.
vibes are at an all-time high.
That's so fucking funny.
Who else was up there? Heroic. Yeah, I want to say this on this podcast too because I tweeted it out. The fact that Heroic doesn't get upset pretty
It's
much
impressive.
ever is not talked
Their floor
about
is
enough.
really
And
high.
And I put Navi into this as well, which hasn't been the case for the last maybe a couple of months as much. But other than that, you look at Navi throughout, they've been up there, within striking distance a lot, but not as much trophies, similar as Heroic. So I think if you are teams like G2 and FaZe potentially, you need to look at what is it that Heroic is doing that we aren't, that's giving them so much consistency when they don't have the... Listen, I was going to say, like, when we were talking before this RMR and the Cloud9 sort of demise, you look at the top 5 teams in the world, in whichever order you want to rank them, it's G2, Heroic, FaZe, Navi, and Cloud9, right? Because they also have the individuals for it, but out of those 5, one sticks out, and that's Heroic. Like, they don't have as many talented individuals as these other teams have, right? Or if we think they do, they maybe haven't stepped up as much. If you look at Stone, like
Their
he's been
loads
really
covered
good.
more across the board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because that level that brings their floor higher, but their ceiling is lower than some of these other teams, right? Because if you don't have a Monesi or a Simple Zaivu, Nico, who else is there? I'm forgetting some riflers, whatever, but
Rops.
Exile, right? Like you don't have
Serrata.
some of these twists. You don't have Serrata. You don't have some of these players that can just win you around that you're not supposed to, right? So, and I feel like you need to have that to win championships. I mean, consistently. It's very hard to do it consistently, but to win them every now and then. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's part of the reason why they
Right,
only have
because
one
when
trophy
it-
under their belt through this run.
Yeah, when it comes to stage games, right? Like that's where that shit comes really like it really starts to matter.
I wonder if Shush could become that guy.
Yeah, I saw that, but you usually see it for him not at the biggest stage. Like it's
Sure.
mostly in group stage. So hopefully he's on the path to becoming that guy. And someone needs to, I mean, you would look more to Stone or Yabi to do it, like mostly Stone. Because
sure.
he feels, not just because he has the good numbers, but he feels a little bit like he has...
Well, he has the flexibility to be the X factor.
and maybe a little bit of a character for it.
He has a personality, yeah. that's for sure.
personality, yeah, for it
Well,
too.
we know this kid fucks.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, he's got a
that's-
hickey too.
that's-
He gets
fist
hickey.
bump, chat.
Yeah, but man, Jason, when you be fucking like that, of course you're getting a hickey. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
That's the least of your worries.
Like it's that real shit. You know,
Yeah, it's
before
like-
everything became too real. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, so that's what I was gonna go with. Like, I wanted to just give props to Heroic and the way they do things. And I think, man, again, I hate like it's becoming boring, but props to Cadian because he's the captain, he's the in-game leader, he sets the tone. People now have all seen the interview from HLTV where he's saying, you know, a lot of people, you know, some people are saying, oh, we're like, you know, we can't it's like if you come in with that mentality, we can't fuck this up, you're already a step behind. And Heroic is that one team, when you look at them at the RMR, you can see that Cadian is treating this like the Rio final.
Yeah, I find it really funny when people are like, "Oh, he's yelling. He just beat this team." It's like, yeah, I'll be fucking yelling too, mate. Like,
What is he supposed to do? Not get excited and they lose?
yeah, I think that, like, sure, sometimes let's say they were beating up on an ESCA fucking open team or some shit, and they were still yelling. Then I might take a couple of fucking, you know, I might have an issue or two with it.
Fuck that. Get in their face. Make them feel like shit.
Yeah, okay, all right. But the other alternative here is like you're in the qualification for the major. Like that shit is life or death. And as we saw with Cloud9, well, actually no, Cloud9 we don't know yet, but VP is fucking death. Like it's GG
But
no re over there, bro.
I'll tell you this. If it were me, I wouldn't want my team to get too excited about beating a ESCA team, right? But that's the difference is what players do you have on your team, right? If Cadian wasn't behaving the way he was with those guys, they wouldn't have enough energy to play in a way.
Quiet team.
Yeah, to play in a way, to play good Counter-Strike and beat those teams.
Well, he has to elevate
But
their level.
let's say if you're FaZe, you probably don't need to do that to win. Like because you know, it just depends how you look at it. Like you're like, yeah, these guys we should be beating them, so let's just be quiet and own them in silence. But in reality, like in theory, that sounds perfectly fine. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. But in reality, man, if you're not having good energy, if you're not talking a lot, if your communication is not on point, you're not gonna play good Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Right? And nowadays, everyone's so good, you can't afford to have those even periods in a game where you go quiet and you don't talk a lot. So whoever
Also-
you are, whatever it is that you need to have a high level of energy and have good communication, just fucking do it. Doesn't matter if you play the 120th team in the world, you know, or iNation. Like, you need to put yourself in a mindset that you're going to play good Counter-Strike and talk a lot, right? So whatever that is. If you can do that without hyping yourself up, brilliant. Perfect. That's how it's probably supposed to be. But we're still not there yet.
Well, I mean, to build on that, it's easier to start out with that kind of an energy than all of a sudden have to create that energy when you're in the hole, right? Like if you don't come in
when
with
you're
that,
losing, it's very difficult.
It's so hard to dig yourself out of that hole versus just coming in over the top and like just getting it right out of the gate. It's so much harder. So I mean, whenever Cadian does that shit, I'm all on board. I'm in.
But
I don't
he
care who the
also
opponent
feels
is.
like a pretty stern leader where if they are losing 0-5 and you know he sees that his players are a little bit quiet, he would be like, yo, he would take like 2 timeouts in a row and be, if need be, and say like, hey,
bro,
Pull your
what was
fucking heads in.
don't fucking be quiet. Like it's fine that you know we can be losing 0-5, but you can't go quiet on me. Like
Dude,
let's lose 16-2, but we're gonna lose playing our game and doing our shit.
He
and
told
not
us-
turtling in
he
and
told
not
us-
being a bunch of fucking bitches.
He told us during the EPL when he came on for like a post match, like after they had won a series and he was all jacked up.
he wasn't happy, yeah.
No, he came into the interview and like sat down and he was like, yeah, I had to yell at this motherfucker because he was doing something like, why are you? He like described the whole round. He's like, this guy was like pushing for no goddamn reason. And I told him not to push. And then he pushed and got killed. And then we lost the round and I had to tell him off in the middle of the, like he was fired up. He goes at him like mid game. It's funny as fuck.
Yeah. But that's like that right there. Like the team has all bought into that culture, right? So they all respect him and they understand that.
Yeah,
what
they
this
all
is-
got daddy issues.
Yeah, we're something like that. But this is the thing, right? Like that's the right attitude to have. Maybe not the daddy. Like, well, no, but like we all have. I'm sure everyone has some form of daddy issues, Yanko. You know.
Hey, if you
Don't
if you
judge.
listen to Freud, all our issues can go back to our mother or our father. You know, another.
Go on.
Listen,
Yeah, go expand on that.
on paper, I'm looking at these groups, and on paper, it's super clear who should be in the playoffs, right?
Okay.
So, you know, for you guys back home, I'll give you 5 seconds to open up Asian TV,
5.
open up
4,
the event page,
3,
and there you will see
2,
who's in which group,
1.
right? So,
We could just
Group-
read it for them.
no, because that's stupid. Group A, I guess it is, the first games. From this group, it should be Navi, Mouse, and Heroic. Those are the 3 teams that should be in the playoffs,
Yes.
right? And from the other group, it should be Vitality, FaZe, and Furia.
Yeah, and yes.
And the danger teams are in the first group.
You can make the argument against Furia, but yes.
in the first group, the danger teams are probably
Big.
I want to say Imperial because of the home factor, no big, and maybe 9.
If
know.
they keep up that form. But this is the proving ground for 9, though.
Right, because they can beat Heroic in a best of 1, not in a best of 3. And then in the other group, the danger teams are Cloud9 because they play MIBR in a best of 1. I don't think even Cloud9 can lose that. And then they play
Like
Vitality.
shit in Mexico as well. They looked like
Yeah.
trash at the RMR.
And then that's it. I don't think even, if both Furia and FaZe lose their opening game, obviously they'll play each other in the lower bracket, so one of them will be out. Like that's the one
Okay.
nightmare sort of.
You don't give any credence to Cloud9 being able to get
I
to
do.
the playoffs.
Listen, I say this. This is we all, and you guys know this as well as I do. With teams in a state of Cloud9, when you have such a miserable collapse, and you know that probably changes are ahead, one of 2 things happen. Either you are dead on arrival, as we said, and they'll beat MIBR, but then lose to Vitality and then lose to whoever, Fury or I don't know, FaZe, whatever. Or because they have no pressure on their shoulders anymore, they'll play fucking super loose and free, and the individuals are going to be hitting their shots, and they'll fucking have a deep run. Like
Yes.
one of the 2 things will happen, and that's just how it is.
No, I see that right there. I think we need a name for this syndrome. We'll call it NIP Dubai syndrome.
Yes.
Oh, that's an
it's
old
The
one.
Dubai syndrome.
That's a reference.
It's
and a
it's
half.
one that people need to know and they need to love.
No, let's say tell the full story.
Well, I wasn't there. I was still
yeah,
playing.
I got over there.
All right, me and Jason were there. We
Yeah.
shared a room, and Jason turned the lights off on me while I was showering.
Let's not
but
go
we
down
already
that
told the
fucking
story.
road.
But
Yeah, that
I
was
will
the
say
event.
this. So NIP,
Go on, yeah.
this was 2015 in September or something like that.
No, I was
An
still
event in
playing.
Dubai outdoors. That's brilliant
yeah, it
idea.
was.
I think Lauren
It was
and Alex
amazing.
were building the
Yeah.
PCs.
But NIP was going through some rough times. They didn't have success that year as much as they would have liked. And changes were around the corner, at least it was rumored. So Cloud9, at the time, an NA team, they reached out to Get Right to move to NA and play for them. And he was like very keen on the idea, and that
He was a Sean Gares fan.
that was almost a done deal. So NIP already accepted the invite to this tournament. They're going in. They know like it's one of the last times they'll get to play together.
They
Shit's
they
already
also
done,
they
so,
had just let go. They let go of their coach. They brought Heaton in to stand behind the team, who was like not a Counter-Strike X's and O's coach kind of guy. He was like the atmosphere energy coach. He was just like basically an overly aggressive cheerleader.
Yeah, bro.
Get right
Wow,
was like
Jason.
setting the record of like most P90 kills at that event. Like they just went in and just said, we're just fucking gaming. And Get Right was going for the P90
Yeah.
event record.
And did they win the whole thing in the end?
No. VP
Yeah.
won that event. VP won that event. They
Oh, they
beat.
did? Yeah,
but they played in the
They beat
final, no?
Dignitas. No. They beat Dignitas. NIP went out in the semifinals, but like they'd been getting smashed up to that point, and everyone expected NIP. I think they were to be like eliminated in like groups at that event because things had just gotten so
Yeah.
far south.
And
there were no expectations.
And that gave them like sort of believe that maybe we can
The
still make this
relationship's
work.
not over yet.
Yeah, it's not completely done, and that's the Get Right move to Cloud9 to NA fell through. He stayed with the team, and they kept playing for
a few
quite
more
a while
years.
still. With that core, 2
Yeah.
years,
A
pretty
very
much.
decent chunk of time.
3 years almost.
Jason, can we edit history? Because the story's better if they won the event. I don't know
I
if
know.
you realize that, but the story is better if they win the event.
I can't lie to the people, Like there's got to be there's got to be another example where the
Yeah,
team
of course
won
you
the whole fucking
can't.
event.
Of course you can. You're American. That's what you do all the time.
Okay, this is
Here we go.
It's political. And,
I know.
it's
Now
getting very
we've
All
taken
you
a
do
we've
is lie
taken a
to the
weird
people,
turn.
Jason.
Yeah.
You personally.
Me personally, all the
Okay,
press
so
releases.
Yanko, how do you feel about the United States of America? Where should we begin?
Oh, don't do this. Don't lead him to that one. I've heard him open at least 3 beers during
it's
this
like-
podcast.
I can't. Yeah, I had like 7 before, so.
We've had a
Oh, I hear ice, Jason. I like that.
I've had a couple
What are you
cocktails.
sipping on, Jason?
I made myself an old fashioned when I went down to the bathroom. I was multitasking.
Oh,
that's how you call your bar, the bathroom.
Yeah, I just
was-
got
it
some.
was
I just installed some motion sensor lights at my bar, so whenever I walk up during the evening, lights just automatically turn on. I've set myself up wonderfully.
Bro, that's so sick.
What was
I
the
need
name of
more
this
tips
fucking
from you on
event?
grown-up life. It was Dubai Invitational.
Yeah,
the
it
CS:GO
was-
Legend
It
series.
was the ESL ESCA. Was it
One?
ESL ESCA? I think it was combined. ESL ESCA Dubai. It was back before the merger. It was right when the merger took place, and it was still like ESCA ESL Pro League in like season 1 or 2.
I'm trying to find a fucking event, but
It was like the Dubai Invitational.
This is one of the things you got to remember that podcasts are audio. They're not visual. I did see some comments on some of our recent stuff that we put up where people were like, "Oh, no video." It's like, guys, maybe you're only new to the show. Maybe you only got involved during the video era, but the video's a treat. We're meant to be audio exclusive.
ESL
so-
ESCA Pro League Invitational.
What a fucking mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Fucking hell.
The
That was
League
fun, dude.
Invitational.
I could do another
kind of
event like that.
everything against it. Yeah, but it's not how can you have a Pro League
All right.
Invitational?
I have another story from this event while Chad is fucking doing this. So story
Losing my
time.
mind.
So Dubai at the time, I feel like it's similar now, but it was a bit more strict back then. You can't drink
Only at
wherever,
hotels. Only at
like,
hotels.
Yeah, at hotels and a couple of select, like maybe
If you knew where to
clubs,
go.
I guess.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So we're at our hotel, like we're having drinks, and the bar closes early, like 9 p.m. or something like that. So me, Jason, and Get Right, we're there. We're having a drink. We're having a good time. We're like, okay, so it was like 10 p.m. So what do we do after this? We asked the bartender or hotel concierge. They're like, well, we can't serve you anymore, but there's this one hotel. They have a bar that stays up until late, like a sort of a rooftop bar. We're like, oh, that sounds amazing, because in the evening it kind of cools down, so it's pretty nice to be outside, a bit of a breeze.
It's like the planet of June.
So they send us there, right? They send us this hotel. It's like a 10-minute Uber. We get an Uber. We go over there. It's on the, obviously, top floor, rooftop. We go out of the elevator. We go. There's like 2 massive security guys, and they're like IDs. And so we get out our passports. Jason's like, "What? I need to give them my passport, my
Dude, I was so scared heading into this
America
place, for
passport."
sure.
It's like, are they gonna give it back to me? Or, Jason,
I would
just
hope
give me my
so.
Passport. So if you give
Bro,
their passport, they
it
check
was like
it.
a 30-minute
they look
taxi
it in.
ride out into the desert. I was just sitting here. I was like,
That's-
this is how the story begins.
Sketchy.
So they're like super, like they're really scared. Both him and Chris. Chris a little bit less, because just Chris, he's just like doesn't give a fuck. So they give them back their passports, their valuable blue United States of America passport to Jason, and we go upstairs. And it's one of these scenes like out of a movie, man. Like there's a guy and. An Emirati guy, how do you say it? I don't know, in a full robe and like 3 fucking half-naked chicks around him.
okay.
There's 2 girls at a table with just a shisha next to them. Then there's like 4 guys that look like they're from Serbia. They're just eyeing everyone out. Like, it's such a weird mix of people. And there's like music going on. It's like, actually the vibe is like
It was a sick place.
The vibe is like in between, actually pretty fucking cool. And
Moderately
are we going to
intimidating.
get like, you know, our organs cut out?
Always a
and-
concern when I go out. Yeah.
right? So we're just saying, now let's have a drink and see how we feel, and we'll just leave after one drink, you know, if we feel uncomfortable. And we stayed for a while. I'm not going, you know, we didn't like go, oh, it's sick, let's get fucked up. It wasn't like that, but it was actually pretty chill.
A couple shots of tequila.
And yeah, a couple shots of tequila, a couple of beers. Like, it was pretty cool. I feel like it was a good trip in the end. It was like a worth it night out.
Expedition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Jason?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Once we got past the giant like linebacker doorman who took my passport for a
Well, he
minute.
was more like an offensive lineman, but
Yeah, whatever he was, it was fucking massive.
but here's how it was, right? That was still the years where Twitch had a big role in, like, their marketing was
Yeah.
a big part of it was sending people to events and buying drinks for everyone all the time.
all
the
the
X's and the O's of
and
it, everybody.
organizing the after parties, right? So because it's Dubai and it's like kind of complicated because of the alcohol, whatever, a couple of the Twitch guys had suites.
They
this
dude, they
hotel-
got they got upgraded. There were like 3 Twitch people there, and all of them had their rooms in the hotel upgraded from like just a standard hotel room to like a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom suite.
Yeah, it
like,
was a
must be
massive
nice.
thing. It was in the marina, so it had to go. Bro, to this day, Chad, I have the same background,
That's
like
from
the
that
same
place?
screen from
Yeah.
my phone. Yes, and I'll never forget it. It was like I went outside. I was getting a little bit drunk, so I went on the balcony for some air, and the view was amazing. It was like of the marina, and I took a photo. You know, and I remember saying, because for me it was like I was still pretty much just an observer. That I was like pushing for opportunities to be an analyst, but I was still an observer. But already, even from that position, I had some, you know, really nice opportunities. I did some, you know, it was a nice job to have. Even just that. So I took a picture, and after that, I used it as sort of a memento, like, you know, remember how you felt that time, like how
Sure,
good you
yeah,
have
yeah.
it now.
Yeah. Yanko and I think both have
And-
the same feeling of that event, and that like little after party on that balcony was like that was the event where it felt like the career and the broadcast side of things was really like secured and taking off.
A reflecting moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it was.
And just the point of this was the after party there was just those Twitch people just ordering drinks on room service, and people are rolling in carts of drinks, and we were just chilling in their room. And to be honest, it wasn't official, so it was mostly us talent.
It was talent and like
And-
2 teams and like a scattering of random players from the other teams. And it was just
Yeah.
Twitch being like,
It
hey,
wasn't-
can you send up like 10 pizzas, 3 bottles of whiskey, 3 bottles of vodka, a bunch of chasers, about 50
100
beers. Yeah, and it would just come in like little carts. It was funny as shit. The good old days.
They don't do that anymore, just in case
They-
anybody's
they
interested
don't
at
do
home.
that
They-
anymore.
They
Yeah, but-
definitely do not do that
but
anymore.
we've made enough money by now that we can pay for our own drinks.
Yeah, but
But it was really appreciated at the time.
I missed that wave. I came in a little
I'll
bit
never
late.
forget, man. My second event, like my first event as an observer at an international event, was Katowice Major in 2015, right? And the second one, that was the first one where we broke 1 million concurrent. But the second one was a SAR letter right after it, and I'm there. We're at the bar after like some night, probably the first or the second night, and I'm still new to all of this, and you know, I'm just happy that they've included me to have a drink with, you know, guys like Sam Loranders, Trans was there, Vendetta, I don't know, a couple of more guys I don't remember now. And you know what, you know, and I had like a whiskey or 2 whiskeys or something, and you know, they're like, oh, okay, we're leaving. I was like, hey, you know, how do we pay? Who do I give the money to? And then Trans like, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna, you know, I got it. And I'm like, you sure? Like, you know, I have no idea that he's Twitch or that Twitch is that, like, that's the way they do it. It's like, no, you're all good. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate
right. It's a weird kind of scenario. Well, at least it was. Like, I think I went to a couple of the after parties as a player, but we didn't really have that same type of relationship. Whereas you guys were always a bit more connected with what was going on in the background. I heard Trance is up to some business at the moment. He's plugging a couple of holes, fixing a couple of bits, and I'll tell you off air. I'll tell you off
Great.
air. No, I thought
Sorry,
maybe you
guys.
would. No, I thought you wouldn't know, but you looked at me a bit quizzically. So
No, I know
I'll-
because
I'll
I was
tell-
reading like Jason said we crashed on him for a second, but we were back.
We
so-
crashed.
Well, for him, he couldn't hear us. So,
Or maybe our internet lagged.
Jason, you here? Oh no!
Oh,
Wait,
no.
maybe we crashed again.
What if we've completely crashed?
Well, maybe it's also how long are we?
Right now, we're not,
our internet's getting sketched. That's
we're-
what he's saying.
We're not connected to the internet right now.
Yeah.
Well, we are, but we're
yeah,
not.
but it's maybe it's like this thing we need to renew every hour.
Well, here's the. Well,
How long have we
we've
gone
been going for an hour and 44 minutes, so this could just be the end. Like, it's
I
not
think
ideal. That's pretty good.
I think that's pretty fine.
Yeah, and we did Wi-Fi TeamSpeak. Something was bound to happen. Jason can just keep this
Oh,
going
yeah.
at the end.
I also see mine. Maybe it's the Wi-Fi for me is also says it's connected. So
Yeah.
maybe the Wi-Fi is fucked.
Yeah, it's fucking dead.
But we did like the preview for Rio.
Yeah,
Pretty
well,
much that
I
was
agree
it.
with. There's
I mean,
lots
man,
of-
it depends. Like for the teams, I really think Furia has a good chance. That's no
Yeah,
that's
I
no
can see
joke.
that.
And I also think like Navi, Vitality, Heroic Phase, like those are the teams.
Yeah, I see. It's difficult in Group A to see much more movement. Like having NIP make the major, as I said before, I think that's an achievement in itself. I don't think the team was looking like they should have been capable of qualifying before the RMRs. So I think that's impressive. I'm interested to see more from OG because this Nico thing feels like we always knew it was going to be semi-permanent, but like he doesn't seem like he's doing a bad job. Nico as an in-game leader feels like things are fine. Like I don't think it's great. I think things are fine, but they were fine
It's
before.
the same old.
Exactly. Like nothing's really changed.
Yeah.
So
I guess if you think of it could have been worse. Depends on your
True.
view of things.
Yeah, it could have been worse. But
But-
yeah, I agree. I think we're about to have what should be hopefully a fun event from the type of Counter-Strike. I don't even mean the tone of the show. I'm hoping it's a little bit looser. It's a bit more clutchy. I want to see a bit more scrimmage.
Yeah. I think we're in line for that.
Yeah, nice. All right, let's pack her up.
All right.
Be cool?
Back it up.
All right,
Yeah,
peace.
man. Peace.
Buzz.